Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Jigowatts. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our movie review show. We talk about movies, and this episode is going to be about Batman Ninja, the most recent DC Comics animated original film, which normally we get to these a lot quicker than this, but we've been very busy, but we managed to squeeze it in here a couple of weeks later. And this is the very different, out of the ordinary version of one of these movies, because this is actually one that's been produced almost entirely in Japan. Hence the Japanese setting and style and all the rest of it. So
it's a bit different because they're all done in house by just the standard animation studio, but this is the Japan division. Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about it. We'll start spoiler free as we always do, and we'll get into it. So basically, it starts off in Gotham, and Gorilla Grodd's got a time machine, and it ends up zapping Batman, his allies, and a few of the villains back to feudal Japan. And then we have a story in feudal Japan with Batman trying to adjust, which surprised me. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to the trailers. I just assumed it was an Elseworld that just took place in feudal Japan. I didn't know it was the actual characters time traveling back to.
I didn't either, to be honest.
Because I was expecting it to be like Gotham by Gaslight, where it's just we're here. This is just where Batman is. That's what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, but no, so that's the thing, and Joker's there, you got Grodd's there, Two-Face is there, Poison Ivy, Bane, there's a whole bunch of villains, so, and some allies for Batman too. So, yeah, I suppose I'll ask the question. Cora, did you enjoy Batman Ninja?
I had a blast. I will say, I assume it got to a point where you start to hate it, because it gets anime to shit. And I'm like, I'm digging all this stuff, but I feel, I'm watching this going, she's gonna hate this.
I'll admit, we probably would have had this reviewed about a week ago, had I watched it right after Connor did. But I kind of dragged my feet a little bit.
Yeah.
Getting to it, I wasn't necessarily excited about it.
And that's given it's been getting pretty positive reactions from most places as well.
It has, but there's a lot of anime fans out there.
There is, because a lot of anime is awesome. Not all anime, because that'd be like saying all TV is awesome. But, there's some great stuff.
Well, because the funny thing is I thought when it started, some of the animation was pretty good. There was a nice motion to the combat that I thought worked really well.
I think the actual, just the design and just the core animation itself is really fluid.
But part of the reason why I don't like anime is not so much the animation itself, it's quite often how at least the ones that I've sampled, how they're
wrong
written.
Ones, probably, yeah.
And this story is such a mess. I don't even just in terms of structure. It kept going up and down. I kept thinking that this could end here in 5 minutes, but I'm 30 minutes in, so it can't be. And then of course it has to start up a whole new plot, or at least extend the plot based on what it was.
Do you know what this is? This is a symptom of it's them going, we've only got one shot at telling a Batman story, and they've tried to do every Batman story they've had an idea for.
And on top of that, it swaps who the main villain is back and forth 3 times. And it's not even like it's a new character every time. It swaps between the same 2 villains 3 or 4 times. And by the time it swapped back at the end, I was like, you know what? This is stupid. I'm done. The structure of this movie is garbage.
It is. It really is. I can't argue any of this.
The pacing is awful. It got to a point about 35 minutes in where I'm ready for this to be over. Not because it's necessarily terrible so far, but just because it feels...
You've had the climax.
I've had the climax. I'm done. Yeah. And then it just kept going. And then it climaxed again. And then it kept going. And it climaxed again. Also, there's a middle section of the film where the animation changes, and I hated how that looked.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
It changed this different 2D style, and I didn't like it at all. I just thought it looked ugly.
No, that's fair. It's jarring as well because it looked so different.
And I'm not even sure why it changed, honestly.
I don't know.
Because it goes back to the regular kind.
It does.
But there's just a few scenes of this really different animation style for some reason. And it never really stuck to me as to why, but hey-ho. So needless to say, overall, I did not enjoy it that much. Also, the last 20-30 minutes get downright freaking stupid.
Yeah, they do.
They get absurdly stupid. And I don't even hate the things in concept that are in it. It's not that I hate these anime concepts, because I like certain things that are in anime concepts. It's just that it feels so shoehorned into this story and out of nowhere, It's like, all of a sudden we're doing this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that wasn't set up or really built up to at all.
Yeah, there's one in particular. I'm not going to say it here because we're obviously hearing some spoiler-free stuff. There's one point in particular where I went, "Yep, this is anime."
Also, this is a more general complaint. I think the voice artist for the Joker is absolutely atrocious.
Okay.
Like, for the record, I watched the English track.
Yeah, I did too.
Just to make that clear, because there's a Japanese track as well. But because it was animation, I just went with the English.
Yeah.
I think this might be the worst voice actor for the Joker I've ever heard.
That's fair. I feel like I've heard him before. I'm just having a quick glance.
And there's been some that I've really disliked. There's been a couple of gruffer voices that I've not liked, but I felt like with this, he had this really... It was almost like he was just in a camp voice rather than actually doing the Joker. It was weird.
Yeah, it was a very different Joker, yeah. Tony Hale. Yeah, it was Tony Hale.
I like Tony Hale. He is not the right choice for the Joker.
No, I agree.
So, no.
I think it's funny because a lot of the rest of them, you have the Arkham cast. You got for Batman, you have the one who did Arkham Origins. Catwoman is the Arkham series Catwoman.
No, Troy Baker's the Joker. Who did?
Troy Baker's the Joker. It's
Who did Batman?
I can't remember his name now. Roger Craig Smith.
Oh, no, that's fine.
No, most people probably know him as in terms of what he was known for at the time, is he did the Ezio in the Assassin's Creed games.
Lesser games, yes.
I would agree with that, even though I like them. But he was in Arkham Origins. Most people thought he was a pretty good stand-in.
No, same with Baker. It was actually everyone expected it to be horrible because it wasn't Hamill and Conroy, but it was actually not bad. It's fine.
Yeah, no, but you got Tara Strong in there doing Harley Quinn, of course, and so most of the cast feels very familiar, except Joker.
Yes, he feels just wacky, out of character in place. It's bizarre. Even just some of the characteristics feel a little bit off. Like he's constantly trying to kill Batman. For a start, which as a long-time Batman fan feels a bit weird. I mean, that's fine. Like, if that wants to be your version of Joker, then whatever.
That's a perfectly acceptable version of Joker.
But yeah, his voice was just annoying me so much. So no, I hated Joker's voice. I thought it started off fine. I was like, okay, time travel adventure. We're in feudal Japan. Need to get back out of it. But it just kept. It felt like the pacing kept restarting. And by the time I got to the end of the 85 minutes, I was just desperate to stop.
I get it.
I was desperate. So that'd be my spoiler-free thoughts on the film.
No, I completely understand that this is a mess of a movie, but I can't deny I was having fun. I know that's like, it makes no sense because it is just throwing ideas at you constantly. It's like, here's a thing, here's another idea. Oh, try this on for size, and I'm like, this is stupid. It really is. It's like, this is just doing everything and anything. But I'm kind of digging it. Like, it doesn't mesh, it doesn't flow, it doesn't work. But I'm enjoying all the elements, even though I probably shouldn't.
Well, I think with that, we'll give you a spoiler warning. And we'll talk about the actual plot, if I can even remember most of it.
Just what was the point? What was the moment where you went, right, that's it, I'm out?
Oh, now we're in spoilers, yeah?
Yeah.
It wasn't the big moments you were thinking of. It was more just when it felt like it restarted again. The first time, so after the first big, not even the first conflict with the Joker. It's when they try and attack Joker's ship. This is about the 35 minute mark, where Batman's teamed up with Grodd because Grodd wants to get back home as well, and they attack Joker's ship. And I'm okay, big action scene. And then it turns out, oh no, Grodd's betrayed him, and oh no, the Two-Face ship's like firing cannonballs at us, and then it's like, oh no, now we have the Joker with amnesia, and Grodd's the villain now, and Catwoman's with Grodd, and it's like everyone's flipped, and it's like, okay, and then we play that out, and then it flips again, Joker's gone, and then Joker comes back. Of course, Joker doesn't come back until the dojo houses have turned into giant robots with arms. And then Joker makes them go all together like the Megazord, and we have this giant robot.
Mecha Castle.
And then we have...
And then the retaliation is pretty special.
Well, at first we have all the monkeys. Grodd's monkeys form a giant baby monkey, which they do with the two little monkeys with a flute. And then all the bats form together to create a giant Batman.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
this is the
movie
point where I
is
was like, "What's going on?"
this movie's stupid.
It is.
There's nothing I could say I liked about that last chunk. And that's the thing. Like, I think you can get away with some silliness. I think you can get away if that's in the tone of the movie. I feel like all of this came out of nowhere because people are going to like scream at me like, "What about the Legends of Tomorrow finale? You loved that Beeble stuff." I'm like, well, yeah, but it was set up, it was teased, it was seeded. And yeah, it was a big silly moment, but it felt like in tone with the show.
No, it's true because like the first big showdown is Batman's got his Batmobile, and he's assault on the castle, and you've got the defenses, right? The castle defenses, and they feel okay, so they're ahead of the time, but they're restrained, ish.
Yes.
It seems reasonable. And then the next time you have this showdown, you have screw it, let's just form it into a giant mech, and then have all the monkeys come together and form a giant monkey. I'm like, what the hell happened here? When did we get to this?
Yes, and then the Bat Clan, who see Batman as a Bat God, and then when the Bats form the giant Batman, it's like, oh, it's the Bat God towering over us.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, and while I appreciate that they've got, Nightwing, Robin, and Red Hood all together, it's like, I feel like they just really wanted to use all the characters, because they don't really have enough for all of them to do.
No, like I said, it's very much, this is the Japan studio going, we're only going to get one chance at this. Let's do everything we possibly can.
That's why there's some Bane stuff. That's why there's some Two-Face stuff. That's why Penguin's there. That's why Poison Ivy's there. It's too stuffed. There's too much.
There are some like smaller character beats that I like in terms of things that I just recognize from the characters, like Damien befriending the animals.
Sure, yeah. That's
like that. It never really addresses it. It's just he has a pet monkey basically. But I'm like, that feels like Damien to me.
Yeah. I don't know if his voice ever felt like Damien to me though.
No, that's fair. I think all the Robins in general like that were a bit off. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing egregiously so. Just never quite what I imagined for them.
And of course, Dick was sporting that stupid Dragon Ball Z haircut.
Yeah, he was. Hey, he's undercover.
So freaking stupid. And Alfred somehow get beamed back as well.
Yeah, he was just there, I guess.
It's just there's so much stretching, and there's just so much you just have to take for granted in this.
There is, and I feel like if you do just kind of just take it all, it's kind of like I said, I had fun with that stuff. Don't try and take this seriously. Don't try and think of this as any sort of plot. If you just take it as here's a fun moment after another fun moment, and you have fun with it at that point. See, if you're into those ideas in general.
I think a problem I have with animation sometimes is that the drama has to be there. I can almost get away with what you just said in live action, because in live action, if I see giant mechs like this, I'm impressed because they're doing giant mechs, and it'll either look really impressive or really goddamn silly because it looks really bad effects or whatever, and either way, I'm getting value out of that. But in an animated thing, an animated show or a movie,
anyone can draw a mech.
Anyone can do that, right? So it doesn't impress me. The actual drama behind it has to be there for me to care.
I get that.
And that wasn't there. So honestly, what you described for me, and this is kind of bores me. I'm just kind of like, I'm waiting for it to grab me, and it never does. It just kind of.
That's very fair. I can't really defend this movie. I agree it's a mess. It's not a good movie. It's not. I don't really understand all the extremely positive reviews that it got because
it's the anime fans. I'm telling you, it's all the anime fans watching this and jacking off to it because it's the most anime thing ever.
It is, and I'm an anime fan, right? I like a fair amount of anime, and Filth. I will happily watch some. We're still doing some when time frees up a bit. Don't you forget it. I haven't forgotten. I remember you agreeing to that.
I agree to nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Bring on the summer. But my point was, I like a lot of these things, which is, I think, why I can get some value of entertainment out of this. Because I see this and go, I can have fun with it. That doesn't make this a good movie, though, by any means. And anyone who says otherwise is just kidding themselves.
Yep. Pretty much. And then there's like a mid-credit scene as well, which I thought was like just kind of pointless.
Yeah, back in the future. Or back in the present.
Bruce has to put on a tuxedo and he's got like a horse and carriage.
Yeah, and you see, you got Catwoman go to pawn off something that she brought back.
Yeah, she stole something, and now it's an antique because it's from feudal Japan, and she.
But it's in incredibly good condition, of course, because
Obviously.
she just took it.
And I thought, okay.
Yeah.
It's just ended on a really weird note. It's just like Brucey's horse and carriage riding off, and I'm like, but okay, but this doesn't really feel like an ending for anything. But whatever, it's fine.
No, it's true. It's like I say, it just kind of does things, right?
Like I said, the animation, when it's the main kind of animation, is typically pretty good. A couple of times it does that thing I don't like in anime, where it's just like speed lines behind them.
The almost the freeze frame.
Yeah, but there's some good stuff in the hand-to-hand combat though, where it really feels like he's a 3D character turning around and stuff. Like you get like some good
there is
motion out of them.
And
so.
like that first set piece with the Batmobile storming the castle, I thought looks fantastic. I really like the motion for that stuff.
That's fair. But then there's other things I don't like. I don't like the animation during this section, but also the random plot in the middle where Joker and Harley have got amnesia because they hypnotized themselves into getting amnesia and then triggered their coming back with their memories by planting this flower, the toxins of which would awaken them, and then they come back and steal Grodd's mecha ship at the end, and they're the ones who fight the big Batman and the big mecha house castle thing.
It's weird because you've got Batman looks at him and is like, no, he really was cured, essentially. It's like, there was no madness in his eyes. You can't fake that. Because obviously everyone just thinks he's faking not remembering it.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, he was cured, I guess. He was sane temporarily.
It's bizarre to me. I don't get what this accomplishes, though, because it's just such a rushed little idea that, like, just have Joker hide until he shows up at the end.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the problem is there's a lot of potential in that idea, right? In the Joker going normal to go undercover, essentially, to get away with something and then triggering himself later. I think there's a lot in that idea, but you have to actually do something with it. You have to have a purpose. Whereas this, just being undercover does the same job. Just hiding functions exactly the same.
Does the same thing, because there's one scene of him being normal, being attacked by Red Hood, then Batman thinks, no, he's not the Joker anymore, they're cured, and then you see him laugh. At the end of that very scene, as soon as they walk away, Joker and Harley start laughing like the Joker and Harley because of the plants.
And it's really weird because it feels like they've just got one over on Batman, right? They just fooled him.
Yeah, it doesn't feel, because I think you did another scene of them being normal on their own, and then they wake up at the end of that scene. Because right here in this scene, it just felt like no, they just tricked them.
It did, and like just in that idea of them being having the amnesia. There's so much potential in seeing them functioning as normal people, right? In a wide society, not just off on their own in a cabin somewhere. Seeing them interact and seeing people kind of slowly trusting them a bit, going, okay, they actually do seem normal. Kind of getting over that until the snap back, and it has the weight then. Like I can see that story, and I can see it being good. This just does nothing with it.
No, it's the same scene. The scene that Batman agrees that they're cured is the same scene where they wake up at the end.
Yeah, I don't understand why we bothered.
Yeah, it's so quick. And then just lots of action and stuff.
I like all the character designs, though.
I like them for the most part. So some fun ideas. Batman's ninja armor is pretty cool. Nightwing, haircut aside, looks pretty cool. I thought Robin's hair was a bit weird as well. Like they made him look really bald.
They did, didn't they? Yeah.
I thought it was bizarre. I get that Damien's 12 going on 50, but still, like, still just felt weird to me.
Yeah, I do like the idea. It plays up him being the old man.
Red Hood had this ridiculous red helmet thing, which
like a basket almost.
And obviously, it's a reference to the classic sort of dome that the Red Hood would wear, but not his version, of course, the original Red Hood.
The Joker Red Hood.
Yes. It was kind of a callback to that. So I get the reference. I get that, they're fans, and they're like, oh, we'll give him this big helmet because it's like that old Red Hood helmet.
I think everything in this feels like it's come from a place of love.
It does. They just forgot to actually
make a story out of it.
Make a story and actually vet the story and like refine it down to something that works and has beats to it and pacing.
It's weird because it feels like no, these people are fans. They understand these characters at a fundamental level, like all of them. No one feels that they're doing anything particularly out of character. And even, like I said, even some of the smaller beats, like Damien with the animals, like that's such a small little beat that I feel like it's underappreciated. That I'm like, okay, no, these people get these characters, and they're just so excited to use all of them. And they're like, we've got one chance, let's do everything we can, and then they just didn't do anything that they should have done instead.
Nope. That is Batman Ninja. It is lots of varieties in a blender with like this weird. It almost felt like a TV show of 4 episodes that were split up, or not split up. Sorry, there were 4 episodes that were just put together and edited together.
Yeah, because early on you have it established that they've all like four of the villains have taken the different areas, and it feels like okay, here are the sub bosses that you got to take over, right?
But it never really does that.
No, it doesn't. But that's what it feels like it's setting up. I thought that's what the story was going to be. It's like we're going to go through them one by one until we can, cripple the army, and then we can take out Joker at the top.
Oh, it was fight Joker. Oh no, Grodd's betrayed us. Now Grodd's the main bad guy. Oh no, now Joker's back. He's taken over as the main bad guy.
Yeah. But I was really looking forward to, they're like, oh, Two-Face has got his section, Poison Ivy's got her section. I'm like, I can see this story of going around the different areas and taking out the sub-bosses and working your way up, right?
Yeah, if I have a minor critique of just like Joker's really good with a katana, and this he's actually dueling with Batman, and I don't know. I guess in my head, Batman and Joker, Batman's a good fighter and Joker isn't. Like Joker, once Batman's in a room with Joker.
I agree. I'll counter that by just saying Joker's been here for a couple of years.
All right, okay. He's been
practicing. I feel he's well, what else do you do in feudal Japan?
The crossword.
Sure, why not?
They had crosswords in feudal Japan, right? I don't know.
I feel like they're a slightly more modern invention, but
maybe not. Well, actually, does crossword work in Japanese writing? Because obviously their language works, their written
Very
language works really differently to ours, so maybe it doesn't even work.
It might not.
I assume they have an equivalent, though.
Sudoku.
Sure.
Can't go wrong with numbers.
Oh yeah, numbers are universal. That's how we communicate with aliens if they ever show up, because maths and physics, even if we call it something different, they're the same principles.
Exactly. They're constant, so... That's why they have Sudoku. That's what Joker was doing, set up in his castle, sword training and Sudokus.
Oh dear, that's Batman Ninja. Are we done? Anything else you'd like to add before we rate this film out of 10?
Just if you've not seen it and you've watched this review, and you're going, I don't want to watch this because we've just chat all over it. I think it's worth it for the experience. It's probably not worth paying full price. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's worth just to see the insanity.
When it has a streaming service and you don't have to pay for it, that's when you should probably watch it.
Yeah. If you can rent it cheap or something, it's worth a little bit.
Not that I necessarily even agree, because I thought it was a bit of a chore to get through the whole thing. Like I was getting kind of tired of it.
That's fair. I think if you're more into like the anime sort of tropes and ideas in general, you will get something out of this.
Because I have no problem with making giant robots and putting them together to make a mecha.
No, we know how much you love Power Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't fit in a Batman story, and it comes out of nowhere. Where all of a sudden,
it just transforms.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, they set up a little bit at the start because the first castle that Joker's in has the arms that pop out, but I just like it's just it's like all the anime tropes, all of them, put them in, do it.
It did feel like that.
Okay, what you rating out of 10?
It's a very generous 6 because it's a mess, but I can't deny I had fun.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I think I can't go too much harsh on that because I do think some of the animation's quite nice.
On a technical level, it's mostly pretty good.
Yeah, except for that check section in the middle where the animation changes to this different style for some reason, and it looks like
10
crap.
minutes. It's weird, yeah.
It's bizarre, and like you say, the characters are mostly nailed, and there's some nice visuals here or there. Music's not bad, but I can't it's too much of a maze. Just in terms of structure, in terms of pacing, I can't get past those issues. So
Yeah.
that's
It,
Batman Ninja.
it's a one-time experiment that I'm glad I experienced, but I'll never watch again.
So that's Batman Ninja. So let us know what you thought of the movie and the comments if you have seen it. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Obviously, you might want to check out Television from the Multiverse, which is our DC TV podcast. Me and Connor talk about all the week's DC TV shows at the end of the week. On that, it's on YouTube and as the audio feed. Television from the Multiverse. There's also Comics from the Multiverse, in which me, Connor, and Matt all talk about the week's DC comics. And we talk about all your Batmans and your Supermans and your Green Lanterns and Flashes and Wonder Womans and everything else. So maybe of interest. In fact, you might even be listening to this on that feed because I usually throw that on there to the movie reviews. That is. So that is us. So head over to patreon.com as well. Patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. There's a link in the description for handy links to all the different stuff we do. And also you can support us over there if you want to, and help us keep recording stupid things and chastising Connor's ginger face. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies. We'll see you next time.